Well, we've made it. The Toronto Blue Jays are one game away from a World Series title, heading back to Toronto.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. If somebody would have asked me where this team would be at the start of this season, I could have never predicted this. One game away from a World Series title. I'm over the moon. I've been left speechless before. What a performance from Trey Yesavage. What a job done by this offense. You have one more to go. Friday night, trick or treat, ladies and gentlemen. The Toronto Blue Jays will look to capture the World Series on Friday. Carter Mamana, I'm blown away. Before we get into Trey and all of it, how do you feel?
Incredible. Alive. More alive than I've ever felt, debatably ever, on top of the world. How can you not feel good about this Toronto Blue Jays ball club right now? You would have told me that they're going to go take 2 out of 3, and they debatably should have taken all 3 in LA. A lot of people would tell you that 18-inning game probably should have went the Toronto Blue Jays way. But again, that's in the past. You're 3-2 going back to the Rogers Center. A lot of people would have taken that the other way, being down 3-2 going back to the Rogers Center. Now you have 2 games just to win one of those 2 games, and you are World Series champions for the first time in 32 years. It's insane. It's lost for words is the start of it. Obviously, it's kind of tough right now with the podcast, but hey, I'm so excited. This team has been so much fun to watch, and it's almost bittersweet that Friday could be the last game. We get to watch this team play baseball because this is by far the most fun I've ever had watching any baseball team ever play. Because this team is so gritty. They're so close-knit. Everybody loves each other, and everyone would just do anything to make this baseball team win, and that's why they are so good in the position that they are right now.
As always, I'm Brayden Iwasko. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, Brayden5Iwasko. Carter First 2 is out on our main Twitter account at Locked On Jays. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Locked On Blue Jays. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. You guys have been killing it. There's so many new people that have come to this podcast, and they're all Blue Jays fans, or some people are even fans of other teams, and they're watching.
How many
Jays
Dodgers
right
fans are in this one?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. So thank you guys all for that. We're going to talk Trey Yesavage. We're going to talk this offense, this bullpen. We're not necessarily going to tee up Game 7 directly. We're going to save that for tomorrow's episode and get into that. What's
Game
that?
6. You said Game 7.
Oh,
we're not thinking about Game 7 right now. We're focused on Game 6. We only need a Game 6.
You're right. I just wanted to throw this out here before, and I'll mention it again in tomorrow's episode. If the game is looking like either way, we are going to be live for the last inning of Friday's game. And just barring, again, I'm not trying to jinx anything. I don't believe in jinxes. I haven't all season. Barring anything, we will be live for Game 6, 9th inning, just in case. And so that will be that. But we're going to go out. If the Blue Jays ever win this World Series, we're going out to celebrate. We want to get something out to you guys for sure. But we will be celebrating if they end up doing this. I just wanted to put that out there as a little precursor so you guys know where to come for your content. We'll be live in that 9th inning for you just to see what happens. But in saying that, Carter, we'll be live on wherever you get your podcasts as well, like Apple or Spotify or the 9 million that there are. Let's talk about Trey Yesavage because, I don't know. Like or hate Mark Carney, give Trey Yesavage the keys to Canada because, oh my God, dude. Just electric. 12 strikeouts. We said that Trey Yesavage will not be the same pitcher that he was in Game 1. This Dodgers lineup was going to be slightly shell-shocked because he didn't have his best pitch in Game 1. It wasn't working. Well, you see what happens when that splitter works, man. And he's able to play that splitter off the fastball, off the slider. It is unbelievable, and what a day. I said I don't like giving hat tips to any pitcher on the opposing side. I'm sure the Dodger fans are giving some hat tips to Trey Yesavage tonight.
I feel like just based off things we've seen, like some of them probably are, but some of them probably aren't. They're probably saying, oh, it's a 22-year-old that's making his 8th start. How in the world is he doing that to you in the World Series? I would love to see what their reaction is from this game because it was phenomenal. We talked about it on the last episode. Trey Yesavage did not have his best stuff, obviously, in that game, number one. The slider still looked good. The fastball command was still kind of carried him through that. And we talked about how you're going to have to do that sometimes as a major league pitcher. You're not going to have your best stuff in every single performance. But oh man, did Trey Yesavage ever have his best stuff in this performance? A whip percentage of 44 in this game. It's incredible. Like, that's really all you have to say is just how good this guy was. Having the splitter, when this splitter is on, it's absolutely ridiculous. And like just going down the lineup, like you're getting swings that like worse than my swings on MLB The Show when I'm playing against Brayden. Like, and this is Shohei Ohtani. This is Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith. Like, these aren't bums. These are some of the best players in all of baseball. It's like you can never say enough of what Trey Yesavage is doing for this ball club. You can't say enough about what he might do for this ball club in the future. But what we can say is Trey Yesavage is absolutely on the loose right now and has been a huge determining factor as why the Toronto Blue Jays are in this position. Even going back to the trade deadline, our huge thing was, hey, we need an ace. We're going to need pitching. We need somebody to step up. And in no world did I think Trey Yesavage was going to step up to this caliber in this way. He is putting out ace numbers, almost like top tier starting pitcher numbers, 12 strikeouts in a World Series. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
It is. 12 strikeouts is a new rookie MLB record for the World Series. So there you go, a statistic for all of you guys. It is absolutely phenomenal. The way he was able to dice guys up, and we'll talk more about the offense sort of in the second segment here, Carter, because it's hard not to focus on Trey Yesavage this game. But the way that he was able to probably relax after what happens in that first inning. Davis Schneider, first pitch, see you later ball. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. In 3 pitches, the Blue Jays have 2 runs, just like that. That takes a lot of pressure off the starting pitcher. So I want to give a little bit of credit to those 2 guys in particular for setting Trey Yesavage up to be able to probably take a deep breath and not think, oh, wow, if I give up one bad pitch, it's 1-0 Dodgers. The Blue Jays have a lead, and it's a lot easier to pitch with a lead. So not only is it great from the offensive side of things, but for Trey Yesavage to really be able to settle in and find himself in this game, I think that is a huge stepping stone to what became this outing for him.
Also preventing Blake Snell from really settling into a game. 3 pitches in, like after that home run ball, like that's one you're like, okay, let's 1 home run. You can limit the damage after that. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr. not letting him get away with literally anything. That's not even a bad pitch to Vladdy, but an unbelievable swing. His hardest swing of the season in terms of bat speed. So you could tell Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was trying to get after that one. But like Trey Yesavage should pitch in a tornado, and it doesn't matter what the conditions are. Like he's like so calm, cool, collected. Guy's insane. But yeah, you definitely have to give Davis Schneider credit, especially on a high fastball. Like that was not on my bingo card. I had some question marks. I'm sure with a lot of other people having Davis Schneider as the leadoff guy. For me, he was always in that lineup. Maybe not as a leadoff guy, but hey, I mean, I'll gladly eat my words on that one. I've said this on the podcast before, not in a while, but I'll take 1 for 4 with a home run any day of the week. You give me 1 for 3, getting on base 2 times. What a performance from Davis Schneider. And seeing his dad's video just made it that much better. Just what a moment for that entire family.
Carter, and you know what? It was a guy that I've had high belief in all season, really. I mean, I have his jersey, 2 jerseys of him for a reason. Yeah, you know what? He doesn't get to play every single night, and I think it shows you what kind of player he is, being able to go up in a huge moment and have a day like today. Now, you can't expect this every day from any player in this lineup, never mind Davis Schneider, who comes off the bench like this. So, yeah, what an unbelievable night from him. For his family, we know we've had a couple of conversations with his sister on Twitter a couple times, and they seem like just a very, very great family. And they're, all of them, they're supporting Davis, and he's just a very likable guy, right? He's him and Ernie and Barger and Loperfido and all these guys, Miles Straw. I mean, they're all likable guys. So it's just nice to see guys like that have a ton of success. And it couldn't have been in a bigger spot, first pitch of the ball game, to have a ton of success. So it sets your team up in a very strong way. And you know what? What's going to be lost in all of this, because you want to give guys like Davis and guys like Trey their shout outs, But Vladimir Guerrero Jr. continues to be an absolute beast. And I'm sure, Carter, I don't want to go too much into it right here because we will talk more about Vladdy in the second segment. But yeah, for Vladdy, for Davis, for Trey, those three in particular, which we'll talk more about some of the other guys coming up. But those three guys in particular, what a day.
Well, yeah, backtracking to David Schneider. Why is he leading off? Why is he in that number one spot? Because somebody was unfortunately not able to play, even though right before the game, like that's why if you guys were looking for the lineup, it took right until that final minute, 90 minutes before the game for them to release that lineup. Because George Springer they were trying to figure out, hey, is this guy going to start? Is he going to pinch hit? Again, he was available to pinch hit, not sure in what capacity. But why is David Schneider there? It's because George Springer is not there. And what does George Springer do a lot of the time? One of the best in all of the game at doing it, hitting the lead-off home runs in that first inning, sometimes off of the first pitch. So yeah, credit to David Schneider. Maybe you're learning a thing or two from George Springer, probably talking to him before that at-bat as well, but doing his best impression of George Springer in that instance. But yeah, the Jay slogan is just everybody and everybody from unlikely sources. Didn't have that on my bingo card, but what a moment for the kid.
Yeah, it really was. He talked a little bit post-game just about the fact that, he's seen what George Springer does. He's had conversations with George Springer, especially going into this game, about what to expect. What should I be looking for? And George told him, look for that fastball. They're going to try to get ahead of you early, so take advantage if you can. And for sure he did that. Carter, a lot more to talk about. Obviously, the bullpen, the defense tonight, the offense in particular. A whole lot more to come. Stick with us right after this break. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of a game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score the next bucket to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a bigger shot at a payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making the late push. You know what I said? I've been doing well in the sports betting lately. Anytime Trey Yesavage is on the mound, take the over. Whatever the strikeout total is, take the over. The guy's an absolute monster. But if it's NHL, if it's NBA, if it's CFL, NFL, MLB, whatever it may be, FanDuel has great offers there, and especially this one. Because right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So make sure you win that first $5 bet, get the $300 in bonus bets. It's free betting money. You might as well take it, right? Head to FanDuel.com to sign up today. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So, Carter, continuing on, we talked a little bit about Davis Schneider, a little bit about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but one guy that will probably get overlooked in this ball game is Addison Barger. What an outing from him, not only on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side as well, making that diving catch in the outfield. What a season from him in totality. But to find his stride and making things happen in the playoffs, it's just great to see. From 1 to 9, it's all of these guys finding their moment. And Addison Barger has found more than a moment, that's for sure.
And this is a guy that's going to be with the Toronto Blue Jays for a pretty long time. This is a very young baseball player. He's 25 years old. So it's crazy how things and the tides can change and turn for the Toronto Blue Jays in just 1 year of baseball. But just going into some of the postseason numbers for Addison Barger, hitting .346, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, an OPS of .972. It's really stepping up. And in this game specifically, it's Blake Snell. And Addison Barger is a left-handed hitter going against a left-handed pitcher. And Blake Snell, one of the best lefties in all of baseball. Very good ability to spin the ball. The slider, the curveball are unbelievable. The changeup plays very well as well. And one of those guys that wasn't a shoo-in to be in this lineup with that lefty-lefty matchup. It was either him or Nathan Lucas, but clearly what he's been doing up to this point, what John Schneider's seen of him, and just the floor that he presents, and just obviously the upside with the bat, with the ability to hit home runs and just somehow go the other way now off of these lefties, just has mastered the ability to chop the ball the other way. And with how hard they're playing on pull side, that has been working for Addison Barger. But diving catch off Ohtani, as you said, that ball was hit 117.3 miles per hour off the bat. That's insane. Addison Barger has to dive for that ball, put his face right in front of it, body on the line. Unbelievable catch. We know he has a rocket arm. And then maybe a little bit of Little League coming into this one, advancing on a wild pitch to second, advancing on a wild pitch to third. And you guessed it, advancing on a wild pitch to get home as well. One of the best games we've seen from Addison Barger, and he's really been doing it all year. Maybe a little bit streaky, but he's showed up when it matters, along with a lot of other players on this team. Just another guy that's so much fun to watch.
Carter, there's a ton of them. Go down this list, right? Again, we talked about a lineup being a complete lineup. Every starter that was in the game today gets a hit outside of Andres Gimenez in this one, but everybody else does a job. I mean, even IKF gets one done. Ernie Clement, who has been just consistently insanely solid for this ball club. Alejandro Kirk, again, I think another guy that Carter, to me, doesn't get enough love. I think that mound visit that he went to talk Trey, actually, Buck brought it up on the broadcast. And when it comes to catching stuff, I think Buck really does have a great point of view. He doesn't overplay his hand talking about, oh, when I was in the league, but once in a while where he throws a tidbit at you, it's really nice to hear, especially something like that. And not only is Alejandro Kirk understanding the moment within each game, but he's calling these games, Carter, too, right? And so for his ability to control a game and a narrative and how this stuff is going to play out, you really do got to give a hat tip to him as well.
Alejandro Kirk is so important to this baseball team. I mean, we saw it when Tyler Heineman came in. No disrespect to Tyler Heineman, but just offensively, defensively with the framing, a big thing you noticed in that game 3 as well. Alejandro Kirk is one of the most underrated players in all of baseball. Like you talked about that mound visit. Trey Yesavage is absolutely cruising up until around that point. He had 5 strikeouts in a row, like just before that. He's up 0-2 on Freddie Freeman, tries to overthrow a slider, trying to get, again, a very good hitter out. A guy that's probably going to be a future Hall of Famer. So, again, you want to throw very good pitches against him. A young guy, maybe trying to overdo it a little bit. Clearly, what he was doing was working. So, again, this young guy in a moment overthrows that one, bounces it, hits Freddie Freeman. Teoscar Hernandez infield single. Then he goes to Tommy Edman, throws his worst splitter of the day, hits the ground maybe, it looked like 10 feet in front of the plate. It's probably a little bit closer than that. But again, the point is not a very good pitch. Alejandro Kirk senses that. We sensed it. The Dodger Stadium sensed it. You could tell the fans were starting to get up. Everyone sensed it in that moment. That was a scenario where it could have got away a little bit from Trey Yesavage. Alejandro Kirk goes over there, slows it down a little bit, and then just puts Tommy Edman in his back pocket like nothing happened, pops up, and then continues on to have one of the greatest performances that we've ever seen from a Blue Jay in World Series history from a rookie. Honestly, you could probably say one of the best in World Series history in general. Man, you can talk about Trey Yesavage like forever, and you're going to continue to talk about Trey Yesavage forever. But yeah, Alejandro Kirk, going back to him, even if he's not doing it offensively, which he has been this entire series, he's really stepped it up in the playoffs as well. He means so much to this team with what he does defensively, with calling games, and just his presence on the baseball field.
Carter, and you know what? I want to talk a little bit more about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I went out to a couple of shows, and I was saying how Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is having one of or equivalent to one of the best postseasons of all time. Well, he is having one of the best postseasons of all time. Straight up, what do they call it? No
doubter. What? Like, what do you?
Yeah, whatever. Either way, again, another saying contest? I wasn't going to get right.
Yeah, you got to just settle down on these sayings, or maybe write them down. Maybe you start looking up some sayings.
I can't. It's certain situations. I don't know when I'm going to need one. I'm going to have like a wall of them.
Well, you got to get in the lab here. Start doing some research. Have them on. You got to
it's figure them out before you want to talk to them. Like it's something the kids say. It's like no pause or no break or something like that. No stop. That's what it is. Yeah. You see, you're too old, man. You're too old.
I was never going to help you out with that one, unfortunately.
No, yeah, you're getting too up there in age.
I'm sure that's it. I'm sure it's not just your crazy brain. I'm not even sure if that's an actual saying. Let us know in the comment section if it is. But yeah, it's Alejandro Kirk. It's Addison Barger. It's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We'll talk about Vladdy obviously now. But yeah, one of the best postseasons in all of baseball. Just going into some of the all-time rankings for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. this postseason. 27 hits. That is second all-time. 8 home runs. That's tied with a boatload of players for number 2, Randy Rosarena at 10. So if you guys are looking for a home run total, hopefully Vladimir Guerrero Jr. can do that in game number 6. OPS of 1,337. That's like insane, dude. That's absolutely wild. For 4th all time. Total bases 54. That's 2nd of all time. And I'm going to try to do some quick math here. 5 games against the Dodgers. You had 7 against Seattle. Then you had another 4 against the Yankees. That's 16 games, if I got that right. Incredible numbers for 16 games in a postseason.
Carter, and that's not saying, like, I haven't gone back into the research of how many games these guys all play, because it could have been more than the Toronto Blue Jays, if somebody had to, whatever, it could have been less, but it's a very interesting statistic for him to be in all of these categories, right? You might see a guy that hits a ton of home runs, but, doesn't get on base otherwise, or whatever, has less total bases, but for Vladdy to be in the conversation on all of these statistics, second for the most part, outside of the OPS, which is 4th, and how you beat the OPS that Vlad has right now, that whatever player that is going to be one day is going to be an absolute monster, because Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is looking unbelievable. and you need him to be. I think going into Friday, you need Vladdy to be this player. And I have belief right now, man. And I think that's the biggest thing as Blue Jays fans. We want to sit here and feel like we're in the driver's seat, not taking anybody for granted, but feeling like you're in the driver's seat. You don't want to have to feel like every time that your team has to pull out some comeback that's going to, shock the world. It's nice to feel like, hey, yeah, we're steering the ship right now. Is that how you're feeling sort of right now too?
Oh, all the momentum and all the control is in the Toronto Blue Jays court right now. I mean, you have 2 games at the Rogers Center. It's going to be insane there. Like, I would pay thousands of dollars. You're going to have to pay thousands of dollars to get there, unfortunately. But if the roof is closed, it's going to be blown off the building. Like John Schneider said it, he's looking forward to it. You see throughout the World Series interviews how much these guys love playing in front of the stadium. So, like, again, how do you feel bad looking at this Toronto Blue Jays ball club? Going into this series, just even looking at this series in totality, like the Toronto Blue Jays have played exponentially better baseball than the Los Angeles Dodgers have. You can argue that they should have already won the series already. Some people say they should be 5-0. I'll take the 4-1. I mean, you're at 3-2. I'm taking that as well. So yeah, like very good spot for the Toronto Blue Jays to be in. And just going kind of backtracking one more time to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and just the significance of this playoff run from him. With Bichette being out this entire run, with George Springer now being out this entire run, and just with the regular season this dude had, what do you have, 24 home runs in the regular season and OPS under 900? Like, it wasn't the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. numbers that we were really looking for after signing that $500 million contract. After this postseason, I know $500 million is still a lot, but after this postseason, he might have gotten more. He might have gotten Shohei Ohtani money. Bichette unsigned. He's going to get a lot more based off his postseason success. So just credit to Ross Atkins from even like later than we wanted it to. We would have preferred if we signed Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 3 years ago, but I'm sure, hindsight's 2020. We were already kind of talking about that at that point though. But his ability to get that deal done before Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s last year going to free agency might be a move that saved Rogers, Ross Atkins, and everybody involved millions at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you want to talk about contracts? The Alejandro Kirk contract, probably one of the most value contracts in all of baseball. For the amount that guy does, and for the amount that the Blue Jays are paying him, it is insane. And at the time, Carter, me and you were saying that, we said, "Wow, this is a value deal." And now it's looking like it might be one of the best contracts in the league.
I know it's a rookie, but Trey Yesavage, like people did the Shohei Ohtani, Trey Yesavage comparisons. That one's not as fair, but like for what Trey Yesavage is doing in the playoffs and what he's making, still insane stuff. Again, The money doesn't necessarily make the players, just how much they care, what they're doing at that moment, and just how skillful they are. And luckily for the Toronto Blue Jays, they got a lot of players with a lot of raw talent all across the board.
Yeah, Carter. Still a lot more to get into coming from us here. But we're going to take a quick break and come back. Because, there's so much in this game to break down that, and honestly from past games as well that sort of lead into the narrative. So stick around right after this.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of this sports season, whether you're following the NFL, MLB, or NBA, or both. There's no better time to jump into the action. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. You can pick more than or less than on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play from anywhere Prize Picks operates. So unfortunately for us, there is no Toronto Blue Jays baseball on Thursday, but I am a big NFL guy as well. So the Dolphins and the Ravens are playing. So I've taken my talents over there. And you guys know I always like to mortgage my bets with some of my fantasy players as well. So I do have Lamar Jackson. I have Devon Achane in a league as well. And then I have Jalen Waddle. So I'm hoping for a Jalen Waddle touchdown. I got Devon Achane more than yards. And then I got Lamar Jackson coming back for his first game more than passing yards against a terrible Dolphins defense. So hopefully that can supplement some of my picks, my fantasy wins, and make me some money at the same time as well. So you can download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. It's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
So Carter, continuing on, I have to say this, and it's probably gonna tick some people off, and that's okay. John Schneider's willingness to leave Trey Yesavage in, I know it's an easy decision, and it was the right decision. But I think for a lot of Blue Jays fans, the worry is, okay, when Trey Yesavage has 2 runners on base in that situation, was John thinking about it? and he came out in postgame and looked at Pete Walker and said, there is no one better than this kid in our bullpen right now. That is a massive statement to say. For the outings that you have seen from some of these guys, Chris Bassitt, Jeff Hoffman, Louis Varland, Sir Anthony Dominguez, and to give Trey Yesavage that kind of praise. And I'm not talking about just, the moment and whatever for John Schneider, but it's the simple fact that he came out and said, there is no one better than this kid right now in this game. That is 100% true, Carter. Nobody would have come in and done what Trey Yesavage has done.
You can argue Trey Yesavage is the best pitcher, honestly, in this postseason, like in this series, after what he's done throughout this series. And that might be a little bit more bold of a take, but after what he did in Game 5, maybe some recency bias there as well. Like, that's incredible. Like, what pitcher on this team is going to get 12 strikeouts through 7 innings? Maybe Kevin Gausman. Like, you go to the other side of the diamond, there might be some more likely candidates. But again, this guy's 22 years old. Like, we keep circling back to Trey Yesavage, but how can you not? Like, you can talk about his future. You can talk about how he handles the media, the confidence, just a family man. You can talk about his fielding skills, like just a guy that you can get excited about, a guy that represents the Toronto Blue Jays very well. Just a great human being, a great clubhouse guy, and even better on the baseball field. But just kind of wanted to give some other guys some shout outs throughout this game as well. IKF, I mean, not a very good series whatsoever. Some would say he was due, but again, to add that insurance run, definitely nice there as well. One big thing from this Blue Jays offense is getting those insurance runs, because you look at Jeff Hoffman in that 9th inning, not his best stuff. Not that great from Jeff Hoffman. 13 strikes on 22 pitches. Not the greatest strike to ball value that you like there. When Jeff Hoffman usually struggles, it's because he's not throwing strikes. When Trey Yesavage struggles, he's not throwing strikes. When Sir Anthony Dominguez struggles, he's not throwing strikes. Common theme here. If you're in the strike zone and you have good stuff, like a lot of our bullpen arms and starting pitchers do, you're going to be successful. So good on it for the Toronto Blue Jays offense to, again, not being okay and not being complacent with, a 3-1, a 4-1 lead, and continue to attack on as the game progressed.
Yeah, Carter, no, you're absolutely right. You got to give some guys hat tips, but you know what? Talking about Jeff Hoffman and this bullpen, Carter, Jeff Hoffman has been very steady. As much as, that wasn't his best outing, there is an off day. He gets to go and clear his head, even though it really wasn't devastating or anything like that. It just wasn't his best day, but he still gets the job done. And to be honest with you, he's a guy that this team needs going into Game 6. If they want to be able to close out a game, who are they turning the ball over to? It's going to be Jeff Hoffman. So you have to believe in him. You have to have that kind of faith. And, hopefully it's the Blue Jays make it not close. And then, whatever, they can decide what they want to do there. But I really like Jeff Hoffman all playoffs. And so I didn't want to skip over him. He's been really good. And yes, not his best outing this past night, but it wasn't horrible. And I think that's what you're looking for. Even when pitchers don't have their best nights, can they still come in and get the job done? We talked about that with Trey Yesavage in Game 1. Didn't have his best stuff, was able to still get the job done. And that's in part to the hitters as well. But at the end of the day, it's a two-pronged game here. You got to have your offense cooking, and your pitching has to be good enough to get the job done. So, yeah, shout out to him as well, Carter. I didn't want to skip over him.
No, absolutely. And if you're going to have one of your worst starts of the postseason, not a bad time to do it when it's a 6-1 baseball game. Like, the Dodgers fans were out of it. Some of the at-bats, they seem to get progressively worse. Part of that's because Trey Yesavage is absolutely insane. But going up with these at-bats, again, who would have thought? Back to Trey Yesavage. But you go up throughout the entire game, and you literally have no chance throughout that entire game. And then you kind of keep it close, like your starting pitcher, Blake Snell. Again, very good outing from him. But then it gets blown open a little bit in that 7th inning. That's super defeating. You only got 2 innings left against, again, 2 very good bullpen arms in Sir Anthony Dominguez and Jeff Hoffman as well. Looking at the bullpen for Game 6 and 7, if it gets to a Game 7, Trey Yesavage will be available. Like, I don't care what anybody says. He could have threw 150 pitches. He'll find his way back out there. We saw how dominant he was. But then having Jeff Hoffman, Chris Bassitt not throwing in this one, Louis Varland surprisingly not throwing in this one. Who would have thought? Might as well buy a lottery ticket if you were betting on that one as well. But you still have a lot of bullpen arms. They're going to have this extra day of rest as well. Got to feel good, man. 1 win away from destiny, 1 win away from greatness. Still feels unbelievable. Did not expect this to happen whatsoever. I would have told you that you were absolutely insane. Hey, when Dallin said it on the podcast, I was laughing on the podcast, to be completely honest. Did not have this at all in my realm of possibilities. Good thing I didn't mortgage bet my bank account on this one, at least, eh?
That's right, Carter. That's right, my man. Okay, like I said, we have another episode coming out tomorrow. We'll go into some of the postseason statistics so far. Tee up Game 6 for you guys as well. It is going to be a lot of fun over the next couple days. We hope that you guys hit the subscribe button. You leave us your comments, your thoughts, your feelings down below. We always want to hear from you guys. We appreciate everybody that stops by during the live streams. Again, we'll be live in the 9th inning of that Friday game. Just throw that back out there for all of you guys as well. We'll do a little
one more
coverage.
thing to end it as well.
Absolutely, Carter.
So what we've seen throughout this series is that when anything slightly goes the Dodgers' way, it's Dodgers in 5, Dodgers in 6, Dodgers in 7. We're up 3-2. Don't stoop to their level. Don't go out and start chirping all these Dodgers fans, saying the series is over, saying they suck. Ohtani's this, Ohtani's that, Dave Roberts, whatever. Stay with the nose to the grindstone. Remember the mission. The mission is not over. Don't get too far in your own head here. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. There's still a lot that can happen in this World Series. Don't get me wrong. We're in a very good spot, and I'm very confident in this team, like I have been since the St. Louis Cardinals series back in May, whenever that was. But don't count your chickens before they hatch. Still a lot of baseball to be played. Still a lot can happen. I believe in this team. You should as well. And hopefully we get exactly what we're looking for on that Friday night. A ton more coming from us between then and now. Thank you guys for watching, and we will be back with you guys again tomorrow.